the nerdiest fun fact of the night. So I've been getting really sweaty all night as all of these great speakers have come up here, so here goes. So firstly, just to set the stage, I am very nervous. I'm pretty outgoing. I like talking to people. I don't mind being on YouTube and the Fed's channel, but I am not a very good storyteller. So we all know the people that can tell the story about that one time they found a penny on the street, and somehow they are so engaging that from the minute they start, you're hooked, right? I'm not one of those people. I forget all the details. I forget people's names. I forget names of places. I forget dialogues. I forget basically everything that makes a story very interesting. So I wrote it down this time, so hopefully I don't forget all the details. And so when I heard about the Wharton storytellers, true to the Wharton stretch experience mantra, I was like, this is it. This is my chance to become a good storyteller without being 3 glasses of wine into the night. So the first thing I wanted to do is look up the definition of home. So I went to the Oxford Dictionary, not the actual dictionary because no one actually owns physical dictionaries anymore. So I went online and I looked up what does home mean, how do you define home? And what I found is that it's the place that one lives permanently, especially as a member of a family or a household. That's how home is defined in the Oxford Dictionary. In all fairness, there are probably about 20 to 30 definitions of home. Apparently home has a form that can be a verb, an adjective as well as an adverb, which I did not know about. But if I was to ask anyone how they would define home, that was probably it. So if someone was to ask me what is home to me, I would always say Mumbai. It's where I grew up, but that's the main reason. It's where I grew up and it's where I spent most of my life up to this date. But I wasn't born in Mumbai, I was born in another city. My family is from another city in India. I moved to the US when I was 17 for undergrad. I've been here for 8 years, so similar to a lot of stories today, where whenever the question is where I'm from, that can get a little more muddled. So I thought about what home meant to me in terms of what are the places that I relate the most to, since the definition of home had to do with a place. And the list that I came up with was Mumbai, New York, and Paris. And let me tell you why. So let's start off with Mumbai. The best way I can describe Mumbai to you is that it is alive. It's very crowded, it's very noisy, it's dirty, but it is very much alive and breathing. There are always people on the streets, there's always something happening. It's where I've lived for the first 17 years of my life. It's where I discovered my love for dance. It's where I discovered my unending thirst for constant activity. It's where I gave my parents a really hard time with my turbulent teenage years. It's where I started to figure out or ask the questions as to who I wanted to be as a person. But most importantly, it's where I learned how to live and how to love life, because Mumbai is very much alive. So fast forward, I came to the US for undergrad, went to Lafayette College in Easton, Pennsylvania. We can sort of skip over Easton, nothing against the city, but not really something I would personally identify with. So we move on to New York, which is where I ended up after my undergrad. So New York to me is a city of many layers. It's kind of like an onion. It's very oniony is what I tell people. I don't think that's actually a word. At first glance, it's gritty and glamorous. It has rooftops like Standard and Levain. It has restaurants like Levin Madison. It has clubs like Marquis and Lavo. It's where a lot of movies are shot. And it's exciting. But New York is a lot more than that. As you get to know her more and peel back the layers, you discover that there is so much more to New York. It's more about the underground jazz places that you can lose yourself in even at midnight on a weekend. It is a live saxophone player that plays every day morning on Wall Street at 7 a.m. throughout the summer. It is the hole-in-the-wall dumpling place that you crave after your party has ended at 4 in the morning. You can never really get bored of New York because just like you, New York is always moving as well. And last but not least comes Paris. So Paris and me are newly acquainted. It is the place that I've probably spent the least amount of time. But in some ways that I've made one of the deepest connections with. So earlier this year, after I got into Wharton, I decided that I was going to quit and travel like most of us. So I quit in February and decided I was going to travel for 5 months, of which I decided 3 months was going to be dedicated to Paris. I've always wanted to live there. And so if Mumbai is alive, Paris is what taught me how to truly live life. It's where I took time to read and write. It is where I sat at a cafe and watched the world go by drinking a glass of wine or two, sometimes an entire bottle. It's where I let myself get lost, like one of the stories we heard earlier by Angelina, in the beautiful streets. It's where I learned to wake up and go to the fresh market and eat those freshly picked strawberries. So going back to where we started, the Oxford Dictionary, I kept looking through all the definitions until I found a definition that hit closer to home, pun intended. Comfortable and at ease in a place or a situation. For example, sit down and make yourself at home. So I sat and thought about what home was to me. It was neither Mumbai, New York, nor Paris, and yet it was all of them put together. So I thought about what was the common thread between the three places. And what it hit me, what I realized is that the common thread was they all had people that I loved. So Mumbai is where I have my oldest friends, people that I've known since I was literally 2 years old and that I grew up around. New York is where I have friends that were on the same path as me, as trying to figure out who we wanted to be in life. It's the people that let me be my silliest self, on wine or not on wine. And Paris is where I built a connection with people, with being surrounded by people that truly understood the importance of taking a step back and enjoying the life that we work so hard to get. So what is home? Home is the familiar greeting of your 4 a.m. chicken over rice guy as he tells you about coming to the US from Egypt. It is that dear friend that you can go out and get completely wasted with in New York because you are exhausted from crying yourself to bed because of a shattered heart. It's the grocery store in Paris that you know sells warm bread even at 5 p.m. and will uncork your bottle of wine so you can go straight to drinking along the Seine and watch the sunset. It is your friend smiling a proud smile when after 70 days in Paris, you're finally able to be funny in French. It is your best friend since age 2 that will willingly, even today at the age of 25, run out into the pouring Mumbai rain just to dance in the rain. And it is that same friend that'll hug you till you can't breathe because you've been shaking from just finding out that your dad had a stroke. The sense of home doesn't come from a place, but from the people. Because it is not a place that is alive, but the people that make it alive. It's not a place that has layers, but the diversity of the people in it that gives it that complexity. It is not a place that can teach you how to love life and how to live, but the people in it. But most importantly, home is not one place, but rather anywhere that you are surrounded by people that let you be your truest self, who might not always get you but love you anyways. And that is what we should all be working towards, not trying to find the right job or the right place or the right salary, but to try to find the right people and then desperately hold on to them.